Hey, sorry, sir, I accidentally closed the meeting.
Yeah, sure. I thought like my network
No, no,
doesn't.
no. I accidentally closed it.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Uh, Shiva, I'll just a second, Shiva. I'll confirm with him. He just
Yeah,
said
sure.
like
I think
couple of.
he has joined, but looks like he has not connected to the audio.
Oh, okay, okay. Uh, for me, it is showing only two participants, Shiva.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, please check that.
Let me ask him.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
Yes, Shiva. I think he is also connecting.
Sure, no issues. Yes, Swarup, you have joined?
Hi, Shiva.
Hey, hi.
Uh, I've sent the
Yeah, I've
yesterday.
seen that. I mean, I think looks like you have shared somewhere in our my night time. So I'll look into that today, my during my daytime. Maybe we'll
Yeah,
discuss.
me too, Shiva. I
Yeah, yeah.
already
I've
posted
seen
in
that.
WhatsApp.
Yes, yes, I've seen that. I've received all three. Maybe during my daytime I'll review and we will discuss tomorrow if we have anything. Okay. Okay. For today, like we will be maybe initially, as I said yesterday, we'll be having one quiz on all the operators, and then there are few operators that are still we would need to discuss that I'll be discussing that today. But before that, let me go ahead and launch the quiz for today.
Sure, sure.
Um, so it might take little time because questions are little lengthy, but which is okay. I mean, we'll have good understanding on all the operators, at least the basic operators. So
Sure, sure.
the quiz is on. We can go ahead.
Yes, Shiva, mine is done, Shiva.
Sure, Sai. I'm just waiting for Swaroop also to complete and then we'll start.
I'm done too.
Oh, you are done? Okay. Okay. Let me stop the poll. So looks like there are some questions which are having a little bit of show results and show correct answers. I'm sharing. Can you see my screen?
Yes, Shiva. You can say it.
Okay. Just 1 second, please. Okay. The first question is which of the following statement about the between operator is incorrect? Okay. Sorry, my bad. It's
So I put
supposed.
the right answers. I
No,
don't
no,
know
no.
why.
1 second. No, no, no. That's what I'm saying. See, the
Huh?
statement is incorrect. Okay. See, between operator is the third statement. It's supposed to be excluding the boundary values. Okay.
Yeah, the
So
first one is
first one is
correct,
correct.
right?
Second one is also correct, right? Because between is inclusive of both start and end values, and between is can be used with numeric, date, character data types, and also
Yeah,
between
I
can
mean like three of
yeah
them,
there
but
are
it says
yeah
single
yeah
single
correct.
choice, so I choose the first one.
Yeah, I mean, either way. So the options are incorrect. Your answers
Yeah,
are wrong, your
options are
answers are, yeah.
yeah, options are incorrect.
So
I'm
maybe,
seeing like I read the question and I put the right answer.
yeah,
It is
sorry,
showing
it was
all the
my
wrongs.
bad.
I didn't understand.
I'll be little more
Same,
careful while creating the question. Okay.
yeah, same here also. What did like operator do in value
What
matches with
does,
pattern
okay,
wild character?
no, it does not, right? What does like operator do in the SQL server? It checks if the value is exactly equals to the pattern. If it checks,
Yeah, Shiva, I'm saying is like, yeah, I put the second option, but I don't know why it took the fourth option, Shiva. I read it like between the wild characters, like, the like the percentile symbol, it checks with that values.
correct. The second option
Yeah,
is correct, but it is
yeah, but
checking.
I don't know how come it's went to fourth answer. I put the second answer. I read it
No,
and I put it.
one second. It is the second option is correct, right? That's what I'm saying. The second
No, no, no,
option
it
is
is
correct.
correct, but I'm saying I pick as fourth option. I don't understand. Like I put the second option.
Okay, but it
Uh,
picks fourth option. Is that what you mean?
yeah, yes, Shiva, because I read it carefully. I know it with
No,
the
no,
wild
that's fine. I
character.
mean, until and unless you are clear, that's okay. So you have
Yeah,
selected second option, but it picked up the fourth option. Maybe, I
yeah.
mean, mouse here and there, it might have moved and it might have picked up the wrong option. That's okay. But we are clear, right? So we use that wild character, which is percentile symbol, to match the pattern. Let's say
Okay.
starts with or ends with or contains and all those. So we use the second option. Okay.
Yeah, thing happened with for the third thing. Third question, I selected the fourth option, but I don't know it went to first. Sorry. Yeah. Oh, sorry, it's my mistake. I actually selected the fourth option. Sorry.
No, who selected fourth option? I mean, Swarup, you, Sai?
No, no.
In
I mean like I selected the second option, but it went for fourth. Mine was
No, 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 no. I'm
actually
not talking about second question, the third question. What does the not operator do in the SQL
it
server?
neglects the result of the logic condition. I put
Yeah,
first
it
option.
negates, right? It negates as in it ultimately inverts the logical operator.
Yeah, yeah.
uh, thing with the fourth option too, right?
No, fourth option, it clearly talks about the order of the results in query, right? Let's say if you take the order in your query, like primary ID is coming in 1, 2, 3, 4, then the what fourth option is talking about this, it
It's
will be coming
reversing
in
from
4,
four
3,
to
2,
three.
1. No,
Yeah,
right?
it's a
It is not
descending
the
order.
case.
It does. Yeah,
Yeah.
it doesn't
it-
do. Order by
so
do that one.
yeah, order by, we use the order by to reverse the orders and all, but it is actually negates the logical condition. Let's say if it is and if you put not and, then it will be reverting, I mean, inverting the and operation. So the exact match would be the first option. Okay.
So I think for the fourth question, the in operator it only allows numeric values, right? I mean like
No, right?
in
You can use the character, this one also, right?
oh okay.
Words
I
also,
thought
right?
it
Yesterday we have seen, let's say you have a employee and you wanted to get all the employees whose designation falls in manager, lead, and developer, then you can put those as well.
Oh, we can put manager comma lead, so
Yeah,
it
correct.
searches
In
in the
single
single.
quotes. You remember yesterday I've told you for the
Yeah,
numbers we
yeah.
don't need to put the quotations, but
Yeah,
for
for
the
numerics, we
we
always
have to
use
put,
this single
yeah.
quote.
So inoperated, it works with multiple values. It can be either numeric or even text varchar also. So the second
Okay.
option would be the right one. Okay. Any confusions? Hope that is clear, right? Okay. Fourth one, I mean, very straightforward. It just checks whether the column contains null value or not.
Yeah.
Again, XOR is not something which SQL Server is supporting. It's a bitwise operator, if you are not aware. Consider the following tables. Straightforward, maybe. We are just checking where department equals to IT and salary is greater than or equals to IT. See, these questions I deliberately put little bit easy. Maybe in hands-on session, we'll have more little bit complex questions. So that you
Yeah,
guys will
sure.
be comfortable. Yeah. And so ninth question I see there are some
Yes, Shiva, mine was, I
discrepancies.
thought of the first one, but then I thought like HR, we can put not operator as a back too. So I selected second and third, but it's supposed to, I thought of first and second, but then I put like second and third options.
Okay, so
So
third
my,
is not the option. So first and second are
yeah,
the correct answers. Hope that
yeah, I
is
put the
clear.
second one. I thought
It's
of
fine.
first one too, like not like I thought, but for like operator, we always use like, wildcard entries. I thought that one, and then I go for third one.
Oh, okay, okay. But we never use that not operator after the condition and all. We have to
Yeah,
put
I
the
thought of that too, but then
yeah,
I
yeah,
thought
that's
like
okay.
for like operator, we always use percentile, right? For
Correct,
like,
correct, got it.
searching
Yeah, yeah.
between HR,
It is
but
just
it
that I mean
doesn't.
syntax matters, right? So we have to just follow the syntax. Yeah, got it. I
Okay,
mean,
okay.
if you are clear, then that's good.
Yeah.
Okay. And 10th is we are clear. 11th is also clear. So I'm just going skipping the questions, whatever you answered correctly. So I'm not going with that. Okay. So 13th question is something that I am looking into, in which I see two different answers. Which of the following query will return employees who are either in the HR department or is greater than 30 and a salary greater than or equals to 60,000?
Yes, Shiva. For this, I thought of the first option, but then I thought like, for the where while you're writing, for the where the department is HR and age is also greater than 30 and the salary is 60,000. I thought like we can use like and operator twice. We can use it right like that or we can't.
No, what is the difference between first and fourth option?
The
Okay,
third option.
third option, right? So we can put where department equals to HR and is greater than 30 and is, see, you are saying that, see, it will be resulting, see, what we would need is either is 30. Okay, sorry, what was the question? Who
Yeah,
are
he
either
want like
in the HR department or is
or
greater than 30 and a salary greater than or equals to 60,000. So there are three
yeah,
conditions, right? Either in the HR department, which is HR department equals to or. So answer would
age.
be
Or age
first
greater than
option,
30.
right? It should be first option, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Because
I
we
thought
are,
Sec-
like yeah.
yeah,
For
yeah.
the third
Oh,
option, I
okay,
was
okay,
clearly
okay, got it.
specifying that.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
uh, the
That is clear.
condition itself is in the question, right? HR or age and
Correct,
salary. So
correct, correct.
I thought of first and second, but they said in the so I thought of HR and the other two will be a combination. So I thought
Correct.
of
That's true. Yep, yep.
I thought of second one too, but I don't know how it works. So I just selected the first
I don't think it would be second one, right? I mean, it is first one because they are saying either HR department or have salary.
one. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah,
So
maybe if we can
second,
run. Yeah. So sorry. I mean, is my voice breaking? Because Swaroop, I think
No, no, no. Swarup's voice is not.
yeah,
Yeah, his
yeah.
voice is
His voice is breaking. Okay.
uh, the second option it has a state, right? So
no,
department
Swarup, your voice is breaking. Your voice is breaking.
am I audible now?
I think not. No. I mean, it is completely breaking. So let's see.
Yeah, I
Maybe.
think first option was right, Shiva. I thought of it, but
Correct,
then I thought,
correct.
yeah, but third option I was like, yeah, now I understand because I was
Yeah,
specifying
yeah.
as like, and like I was clearly specifying it should be HR department, it should be age
Okay,
greater than
okay,
30, and
got
it
it.
should
But
be,
there is an or condition, right? So that's
yeah,
okay.
there is an R condition. Yeah,
Okay,
now I
which is
understand.
fine. That's fine. I mean, unless and until we are able to write the queries, that we are good. So this is straightforward. We are just getting all the orders which are greater than 120 and then total amount less than 1000, which is correct. So this one is also looks simple. So these questions little bit simple. Reason we just wanted to be comfortable with the operators. So let's see. Maybe in the hands-on session we will see. Maybe Monday or your Sunday evening we will be having hands-on on complete operators itself. So I'll be taking some use case and then we will write some queries, some complex
Sure,
queries.
sure,
Okay.
Shiva, I got it.
Okay. Maybe sorry if we have anything we will discuss. So I'm stopping the quiz and let me. I hope my screen is visible. Right? I'm already sharing.
Yes, Shiva.
Okay. Let's take new query. So today I just wanted to discuss few more operators and then we will be starting with the aggregate functions in SQL. Let's see what is aggregates and all. But even before that, let's see. There are few other operators that I wanted to, before even going for anything, I just wanted to make you understand. So even before going with anyone, right, let's try to understand the select statement little bit in detail. What does that mean is, let's say if I have this guy and ID, first name, last name, maybe I've added salary as well and designation. So if you understand this, right, this is the select query, which is select keyword. And these are the columns that we would be selecting. And this is the keyword saying that select from this table. So if you run this, there is nothing much. It will give you all the columns. It is pretty much similar to select a star from employees. However, let's say I have my salary something like this here, and then I'm appending plus 100, maybe. So whatever I am writing here, it will be manipulated for each and every row in the results. Let's say there are 7 rows and here I have written salary plus 100. What I mean is I am adding 100 to salary. It means that for each and every salary in each row, just add 100. So which means whatever the manipulation that we have done here will be applied for each and every row. So if you go ahead and run this, and if you see everything previously it was 50,000. Now it was added 100, 100, 100. If you see the last one, it did not add because the salary itself is null. We will see that how to handle nulls, but ultimately the manipulations, the calculations that you are having in the select statement columns will be applied to all the rows. Hope that makes sense. Okay. Now, just keep remember this. It will be useful while discussing few other operators today. But for now, it is just that. Let's say even if you add some text to this, since it is a first name is a text, try to append some text to ABC or something and plus test or something, whatever it is. Let's say if you put this and then execute. See, my first name column is this, my last name column is this. But observe something here. If I don't put this guy, and this. And if you see here, let me copy, paste, and remove the comment, remove the comment, remove the comment. So if I run both, do you see any difference between these two? So there is one slight difference you see here, right? So for the first one, since we have mentioned the column names directly, if you see the first table names, right? Column names, ID, first name, last name, salary, and designation derived correctly. But if you look the second one, since we have added some manipulations, some calculations around the columns, there are no names derived for it. It is saying that no column name, no column name, no column name. Reason being, we are taking this as a input to manipulate something here. But still, we did not give any column name to it. Let's say if you want to give some column name to it, then let's simply say that f name derived or as l name derived, something like that, and as salary correction, whatever. Now if you run and then see ID, first name, last name, salary, designation, ID, F name derived, last name derived, salary correction. Even in the first query also, you can put the custom column names. Let's say first name we wanted to call F name, then we call it as F name, as L name, as salary. Let's say sal. So if you run it, you will see there are new names that were derived for your columns.
It is also known as alias, right, Shiva?
Alias, that's what I was about to say. So we call this as a alias names. I mean, any alias is just like, I mean, even my name is Nagashiva Ganga, but people call it as Shiva. So my alias name is Shiva, something like that. So we just give some simple names, which we call it as a alias, right? That's similar to that. We are giving alias names to these columns. Hope that clears. Okay,
Yes,
but
Shiva.
the important point here is just remember that whatever the manipulations that we are applying, those will be applied per row, per each row. Okay, now one another simple concept here. Let's say, let's remove for this and remove for this and remove this for now, remove this. So this will simply give us the all table rows. Now let's say I just simply say that I wanted to derive full name. So what I can simply do is do some manipulation plus last name as full name. So what I'm doing is I'm using two columns to manipulate new column. So whatever you are defining here is the columns of your result set. Let's say this is the result set, which will be, just remember it like a new table that we are deriving. So what we are saying is derive these new columns from this table. See, indirectly select statement means I don't want to get the as it is data from the employees table. Rather, I wanted to derive these columns from the employees table, which is the reason why whatever you are doing manipulations here, that will be resulted in the new data set. So if you run this query, what will happen is it will take first name with some space and then last name. So for each row, it will combine first name and last name, and it will give you as a full name. So if you go ahead and, so now if you see, my first name is first name and last name combined together, and last name is came separately because we have added another column, salary, designation. Likewise. So you can do any kind of manipulations, and whatever the manipulation that you are doing here, those will be applied per each row. So if you do this, what does that mean is in the first row, take the first name, take the last name, and separate them with by some separator, which is I'm using a space here. You can also use comma, whatever you want, whatever the way you want, you can do that. But ultimately, the result is that we will have to very sure, I mean, very clear that whatever the manipulations that you are doing here, those would be applied per row. Okay. Again, if you don't give name, then it will be coming as no name selector or something, but it has to be, I mean, we should give some name. So it doesn't make sense, right? I mean, without having any columns, we can't even access the data. Let's say you wanted to send this data some other persons, and if you send without any name or something, then they'll not be able to understand what it is, but which is fine. So it is best practice that we always have to give either some alias name or use the existing column names to derive your result set. So your result set should not contain any no name columns and all. That is the best practice. It is not mandatory, but it is the ideal practice. Okay. With that, there is nothing much. I mean, there are some other complexities in the select statements, which we will see eventually, not very at this time. But let me go and discuss about one operate. Let me keep this. That's okay. There is something called as null if operator. Did we? I don't think we discussed it. Okay. Yeah. So what does this mean is it just checks whether the condition is satisfies or not. Let's say what I'm saying is null if 1 comma 1. See, at this time I'm not using any kind of table or something. I'm just simply, I just wanted to run one function. So let's say, let's imagine this like a some existing predefined function that was provided by our SQL. So I am utilizing it, and to see the results, I'm using the select query. See, select query not only to get the details from table itself, but also if you want to see any results or read any data from any function or anything else, then you can also use the select function. So let's say best example would be, let's say if you wanted to just get the data, get date, then you simply say select get date. So if you run that, it will give you 2022 744. Reason being, it is giving me my time zone as per. So get date will always work based on the current time zone in which the SQL server is installed. So if you run the same function, you will get the time of your time zone, which would be CST. Okay, we will be able to see what is the zone being used, and those are, I mean, those we will see eventually. But select statement will also be able to use the select statement to run any predefined functions, or let's say if we, I mean, we will see that maybe for now it will be heavy, but to run any existing function. See, this get date is coming in a kind of, which color it is, kind of pink color, which indicates that it's a system defined function. So SQL providing us some default function which we will be able to use it and to get some predefined sets. Let's say get date, or let's talk about null if. So what null if says is, let's say if those two operands are equal, then it will give you null. If you run this, it is giving you null because whatever the operations that you are performing, whatever the results, I mean, queries that you are giving, operands you are giving, those are all equal. But however, if let's say they are not equal, then it will give you the first operate, I mean, first parameter, as in, let's say 15 and 10 are there. These two are not equal. So it will go and give you 15. Reason being, 15 is the first one. It is just, I mean, there will be some use cases where we might need to use this kind of requirement, which is why SQL has provided about some default functionality. So let's say anything, you put anything, maybe it works with the this guy also. See, and if you put DEF here, this guy. So since these two are not equal, it is giving you the first value. If these two are equal, see, as I said, SQL is not case sensitive. If you run this, so it is giving you null even though the case is not matching. So I've given in ABC in the small letters and this is in capital letters, but still it works because SQL is not case sensitive. So it treats ABC and capital ABC in the both same way, and it is giving you null because comparative, and they compare it, they both are equal. And null if operator, if both the parameters are equal, then it gives you null. But if both are not equal, then it gives you the first one. Okay, we will see some use cases maybe later, but this is the null if operator uses. So it is just accepts two parameter. If both are equals, null. If not, it will return you the first parameter value. Okay, similar to null, if not similar, but very much similar. Some similarity is there, but let's see what it is. There is something called as a Collis operator. So what Collis operator does is, it is again a simple use case. If what it says is, my bad. Okay. What it simply says is, let's say if there are some expressions in this, any kind of expressions, null, 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 one. Okay. Now what this guy says is, let's say whatever the number of expressions, you can put any number of expressions, you can put multiple number of expressions here. But what simply it gives you is, let's say if these three, it will give you the first non-null operator value as in parameter value. Let's say you are sending 4 expression here, but first 3 expressions are null, but the second one resulting in value 1. So this expression is having some value. So if you go ahead and run this, It will check first expression, it is null. It will check second expression, it is null. It will check third expression, it is null. But the fourth expression is not null. So it will by default select the fourth expression. So there are some use cases around this as well. Maybe we will see when we have some use case around this, but this is what it is. So Colli's operator just compares all the expressions and it will return you. See, even if you have other operators here, 34, 46 and all, it will just give you the first non-null expression, which is 10 here. So we can send as many as parameters, but it is just that it will select you the first non-null operator. See, but best case would be, right, let's say you have a employees table, edit, let me see the data, some person, some person, something, designation test. Let's save this. Okay. Now what I wanted to do is from the employees table. Okay. See, there are two things that I wanted to have. First, let's see null if example. Okay. So instead of, let's say if I select salary from this guy, and if you go ahead and run this, what it is giving you is 8,000, 10,000, whatever. But let's say null if my first name equals last name. So you are just trying to correct some data. So what you are trying to do is you are just checking if there are any records which are having first name, last name. By mistake, people might have entered first name, last name, same and all. Then you just wanted to compare these two and check if, let's say, both are equal, then it would return you null as if equal. So if you run this guy and then say start. So what I'm saying is I'm deriving one new column and then I'm selecting all the columns. So in total, it will give you one additional column which says that if equal. So if you see, there is no case. Okay, let me edit one data. Let me explain you again. Don't worry, my bad. Let me give ABC here. Okay. Now if you see, everything, see, if equal is coming some value for each and everything, indicating that the first name is not last name is not equal. But if you see this guy, it says null, which means that the first name and last name for this guy. So we can think that this record might be culprit, or this record might be having some mismatch of the data. So we might need to check this record thoroughly, saying that we might need to look into the details of this record to see if there are any errors or if there is any mistake while entering the data into this table. So what we can simply also do is apply where condition if equal this column is equals to null, or simply say is null. I think it is supported. Okay, even you can say that this guy is null. So what I'm trying to understand is I'm trying to get all the records in which first name and last name is exactly equal, which is incorrect data. So I wanted to basically get the incorrect incorrect data from my table in which first name and last name are equal. So what I can do is simply select, remove this guy for now, so which is okay. Select star from employees. So get all the records from the employees where if first name and last name is equal, which means null if is null. So which means if this is null, then first name and last name is null. So we will be able to identify all the culprit records, all the incorrect records from my table, which would be this record. For this record, we'll have to go and revisit the data. Let me know if you have any questions or confusions. So it is simple use case though, but that's okay. Now let's go ahead and see star from employees. Okay, now if you see this guy, I wanted to get employee ID, designation, and salary. I wanted to get these three columns. If you run this guy, you will see for salary, it is giving me null. But I don't want to return it as a null, but by default, I wanted to return it as a zero. So I don't want to make my salary column to become null in my the result set from this query. So what I can simply do is just use the Collis operator and say pass the first expression and then pass the second expression. So just before that, I've told you that whatever the expression that we are writing here, it will be treated as on each and every column. I mean, each and every row. Now, if you look at here, what we are saying is from the employees table, take ID column, which is straightforward, take designation, which is also straightforward. But in the third one, what we are saying is Collis salary, comma zero. What does this mean is it will go and check the first row. Salary is 50,000. Since as per the definition of the Collis operator, we will take the first non-null expression. Since 50,000 is not null, in the result set, it will directly give you 50,000. Likewise, it will go ahead for all the other rows, but when it comes to the last row, the salary is null. So the first expression would become null. And as per the Collis operation, since the first expression is null, it will treat the zero as the output of this Collis operator. Now, if you go ahead and run this, see this, see it nicely excluding all the nulls. So what you're doing is you're just simply, see, let's say you wanted to send this data to some HR department or something. They've asked you to go through the data table and get the data. So you don't want to put the nulls for the sake of whatever the reasons. But you just wanted to replace all those nulls with some value. Maybe let's say HR says that by default we will be having 10,000 salary. So I don't want to put nulls or zeros. Rather, I wanted to put default salary of 10,000. So what I can do is I can simply say Collis operator salary and 10,000. Run it. It will give you nicely 10,000 in place of null. But if you look at the actual data, so go ahead, do this and this guy and this guy and run these two guys together. Now, if you see the data, in the first one, it is having salary as null, which is actually stored in our data table. But while sending it to the HR department or someone for reporting purposes or whatever, so whatever the reasons, we are just manipulating null values. We are not storing this 10,000 anywhere. It will be available only in this query since we have done some manipulations on top of it. See, null if some kind of okay, we don't use very, very frequently, but Collis operator, we will be having hand in hand use cases. There would be some use cases where Collis would be very much useful. So be very much clear on the Collis operator. Okay. Hope that is clear. Let me know if you have any questions on these two.
No, Shiva.
Okay. Let little bit practice on this Collis operator and null if operator. They'll be very much useful. At least the Collis operator. Okay. Let's see. There are few other functions. I would say they are like some manipulations as in on the numeric columns. Let's say very straightforward. Let's say you wanted to get the count of rows, sum, max, min, average, some sort of things. Let's see what are those. See, let's say from my employees table, I wanted to see how many employees are there, as in how many rows are there in my employees table. So what I can simply do is select star from employees. So if you run this, what it is giving me is total 6 records are there. So sorry, 7 rows are there, which means here if you see there are 7 rows. But let's say I wanted to return the count. So what I can simply do is count of either you can put star or you can put whatever you want and then say as total employees. So if you do this, it will just give you, see what is the meaning of this statement is, it will give you the total number of rows excluding nulls. So let's say if you are calculating the total number of rows, now let's go ahead and execute it. See, it is giving you 7, reason being there are 7 rows in your 7 non-null records every employees table. But let me give you another insight on this. Let me run the data employees. Okay. Now, see, what we are saying is we are counting star, as in we are counting for each row, take all the columns while counting the record. That's what you are meaning, count star. Or you can simply say that, copy this, count, what do you mean? The first name or maybe ID, anything. So now what does this mean is you will have to first understand this guy. Okay. ID. Now let's run this query first. So if you run this, there would be 7 rows. So what count function returns is it will count all the non-null records. So now when you say count of employees, it would be obvious that it would be giving you 7, which is very much fine. Now let's look at the last name. Sorry, it's not the last name. Is it in email? Oh, I have to look at the data. Okay, salary. Okay, now look at the salary. Now, if you look at, if you write select star from, sorry, select salary from employees, then it is giving you list of all the salaries, which is including null as well. But the count operator, right? As I said, it will be giving you all the non-empty, non-null values only. It is counting all the non-null values. So if you go ahead and do salary count, and if you run this, it is giving you only 6. Reason being, you are explicitly mentioning count the number of rows of column salary. So which means there are 7 rows. Even though there are 7 rows, it is giving you only 6. Reason being, it is excluding null value. But if you look into any other column, or if for that matter, if you put star and if you run it, then it is giving you 7 only, because all the rows, at least if all the rows are having null, then it would give you maybe 6. But since it is counting for all the columns, but if you especially count for last name, then it will again give you 7 only, because there are no nulls in the last name. But if you look for salary and run this, there is obvious that I mean 6. Reason being, one of the value is null in the salary column. Very simple counts, but again very useful while calculating some counts and all, which is fine. Now let's see sum. So this is what we call it as some type of aggregate functions. What aggregate functions is, it would be not perform. See, unlike the select statement manipulations, these would be performed on the all rows that are resulted in the result set. What does that mean is, see, this guy is resulting you 6 rows, but when as soon as you say the count, it will be applied on the all 6 rows, all 7 rows, and then it is giving you the counts, which is the reason why we call this as a aggregate functions. So we are doing some aggregations, as in either count, or let's say if you wanted to get the salary as total salary being paid from employees table. So in a month, I just wanted to see what is the total salary I'm paying to all my employees. Just run it. And then this is the total amount that I am paying as a salary. Now, for some reason, I just wanted to see what is the average salary of my employees. Average employee salary from employees. Just run it. And it is giving you, this is the some sort of average salary. Okay, so it is considering all the calculations, and sum, as in it is combining all those, or count, it is just counting all the rows, and it is giving you, again just be careful while counting, we will exclude nulls. Okay, that is again depending on the count of what you are giving here. So you can, for that matter, I think you can also give, it was supported, not sure if it is supported now, but if you say okay, it is not supported, which is okay, ignore for now. Okay, so whatever you are giving the expression within count, will that also that is also matters. So if you are giving count star or count individual columns, depending on the data, it will give you the corresponding counts. And sum is very straightforward. Just look at this query. So when you say sum, it will combine all these and then it will give you sum. Now in average, it will calculate the average for this, as in it will combine all this by 7 or 6, whatever it is. I think it will be 7, and then it will be giving you the average. Now there is another simple function, count we are done, sum, average. There are two very not very important, but yeah, while doing some data manipulations, it will be useful. Max and min. Let's say I wanted to calculate as max salary, comma, min of salary as min salary. We can say AVG of salary as average salary and sum of salary as total salary paid. So if you run this, you will be getting, see what is the maximum salary that you are getting, you are paying to your employees. Maybe there is a guy who is performing really good, who is getting 85,000 salary. But again, you are not doing very bad. You are giving minimum salary of 50,000. And also the and average you are paying 70,000 salary. And the total salaries that you are paying is 42,000. Some kind of calculations, not only this, any kind of aggregate functions that you wanted to perform on a rows on a particular columns, then you can do this. Hope this makes sense and is it clear? Not very much complex enough, but very much important function. So there is one another function which I just wanted to discuss and then close it. Okay, there is one function called string aggregation. What does this mean is, let's say whatever the expression that you are giving here, let's say ABC, put comma, put here. There are two expressions here, and then say select. And if you run this, the result would be, ideally it should be, okay, this is not the use case, but let me write with the select star from employees where string aggregate of first name, put some comma, and then select it. Now if you see, I wanted to get all the columns in my table with comma separated. So let's say I wanted to get all the first names with the comma separation. So what I can simply do is string aggregate, which will be taking first name from all the results at all the rows from here. And then I'm just separating them with some comma, some at the rate, whatever you want. And then run, it will give you. So the resulting query would be this. Whenever you say the first name, and remove this guy, run this. So these are all the data that I am having. And since I am using an aggregate function with some separation, it would be giving you the list of strings with the separated by whatever the separator or delimiter that I have mentioned here. Okay, hope that makes sense and that is clear. No questions. So nothing much. I mean, very simple, straightforward operators. But again, there will be kind of little bit confusions between Colli's operator and counts and sums all are all straightforward. But again, string operator, string aggregation, as well as null if operator. So just be clear on usage of those. So those would be very hand in hand useful while we are implementing or while we are working in any complex store procedure or while we are working in any project. So these would be little bit useful aggregate functions or system functions that we have in SQL. So these are especially supported in SQL. So there would be, these would be might be supported in other database servers also, but let's not discuss that. But these are definitely supported in SQL, which is what I'm able to run in my SQL server. See, I just wanted to tell you, maybe, let's say I wanted to see If I just simply use this version, version, then it would be giving me my SQL Server version. See, this is not the version of my SSMS. Rather, this is the version of my SQL Server. Whatever the SQL Server I've installed in my machine, this is the version. It is 15.0 Windows version. Again, this is some default. This is something we call it as a macro. Some default macros provided by SQL, but again, not very important, which is not useful. So you just need to be able to understand why do we use select statement. We are not using select statement only to get the data from employees also, but we also use select statement to run any functions with different parameters. Even we use select functions to get the results from store processes and multiple things that we will see eventually. That's okay for now, but for now this should be your understanding. With that, we will stop for today. Let me know if you have any questions. If not, please go through. Again, I'll be creating some quiz on this, especially on this, and maybe some on operators, so that you guys will be little more clear. Okay, with that,
Siva, can you
Mhm.
share the recordings of the previous sessions as well?
Sure, I'll do that. Yep.
Yeah.